I'm Stephen Herwire, owner of Herwire Financial Plans with Direction. After the market wrap, I will talk about the designation I recently obtained. It's called the Certified Kingdom Advisor designation. I'm going to talk about what it is and what it means. Okay, Kingdom Advisors has its origins. Larry Burkett in 1997 founded the Christian Financial Planning Institute. In 2003, they asked Ron Blue to form an organization called the Christian Financial Professional Network, which was later renamed Kingdom Advisors. This is the organization that grants the Certified Kingdom Advisor designation. The emphasis is on incorporating biblical principles into one's financial services practice. Now, the Bible is a historical document that references money and finances extensively. There are more than 2,000 verses that reference money and finance. By the way, when I quote any Bible verses, they come from the Spirit-Filled Life Bible, New King James Version. Okay, what did it take to become charter or certified kingdom advisor? First, you got to meet the professional requisites of being an accountant, insurance agent, investment professional, or financial planner. And with the exception of the accountant, I am a professional in all three of the other ones. Currently, you take an online course through Indiana Wesleyan University. And there's 20 modules, which take 3 to 4 hours per week. There are video lectures, reading assignments, a quiz, and a writing assignment each week. The writing portion, I think, is the most impactful because it requires a lot of thought and consideration. And at the end, there's a proctored exam with a passing grade of 70%, and that final exam also has a writing component. All material in this presentation, unless otherwise noted, is from Kingdom Advisors, Certified Kingdom Advisor Education Program. Okay, so those with a worldview will frequently ask these questions. How much money do I need before I can retire? Will I ever have enough to do all the things I'd like to do? And what if one or both of us lives to be quite old? Will it still be enough? Now, Kingdom Advisors emphasizes a biblical view by asking the following questions. Who owns it? How much is enough? Who is the next steward chosen, and are they prepared? To shift to a biblical view, you have to think you're shifting to the second set of questions. For a Christian, the answers are as follows. Number one, God owns it all. Number two, a charter or a certified kingdom advisor can help those clients wanting an answer to how much is enough determine this level, and it'll differ with each individual, and it will change throughout their lives. Number three is who is the next steward chosen, and are they prepared? This is a trickier question because most folks will default to their children. This may be appropriate, especially if the children have been raised with biblical principles on money. Otherwise, it's possible it may not be a good choice. Okay, money, what is it? Okay, money, from a biblical standpoint, it's used as a tool, and that's the most obvious use of money. It's a tool. It's neither good nor evil. It can be used either way. But then, is it a test? Now, from a biblical point of view, do you trust God enough to give away your first fruits? The first fruits are the best. So Proverbs 3, 9 through 10, honor the Lord from your wealth, from the first of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vines will overflow with new wine. It can be used as a testimony, too. Malachi 3, 10, 11, bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and try me now in this, says the Lord of hosts. See if I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you such blessing that there will not be room enough to receive it. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sake, so he will not destroy the fruit of your ground, nor shall the vine fail to bear fruit for you in the field, says the Lord of hosts. For almost 20 years, my wife and I have been tithing. Now, tithing, don't misunderstand, it isn't like a bank account where you put money in and you're guaranteed a certain amount. It's more, the way I explain it is you give God his due and then you trust him to take care of the rest. I am convinced that my 18 years, now beginning the 19th year in the business, my business has not only survived but thrived because of this principle. Okay, there's 4 ways money can be spent. Live, give, grow, and know. Okay, first off, living. Okay, the Lord gives you money because he knows you gotta live. You gotta have money for your living expenses. There are some things that are flexible and other things not so much. The basic rule of thumb is spend less than you make. There's all kinds of websites and books on how to reduce your living expenses reasonably. They require effort and they require discipline, but it can be done. In long term, it'll provide money for debt reduction, future growth, and charitable giving. With a certified kingdom advisor guiding you, it may be possible to find areas to generate a reasonable level for living expenses given your current situation. And I'm convinced spending less than you make, not just living expenses, is essential to long-term financial success. Randy Alcorn is quoted as saying, "You can't take it with you, but you can send it on ahead." Malachi 3:10, "Bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and try me now in this, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour out for you such blessing that there will not be room enough to receive it." It doesn't have to be a church or a religious organization, especially if you are not religious. Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller and Bill Gates have given tremendously to others, and I have no idea if they attended church or not. Proverbs 3, 9, and 10, honor the Lord from your possessions and with the first fruits of all your increase. So your barns will be filled with plenty and your vats will overflow with new wine. And finally, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. One of the things I learned in the coursework was that stewardship is the only part of Christian life that cannot be faked. Go through your checkbook, you'll see what your priorities are. Growing. Proverbs 6, 6 through 8. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no captain, overseer, or ruler prepares her supplies in summer and gathers her food in the harvest. At some point in the future, the money in our paycheck will not cover a purchase or expense. And there's 2 ways to pay for this. You can borrow the money, which will increase the cost because there's interest charges, or you can save for it before you buy it. So that's why we need to be diligent, saving for the future, whether it's for short-term goals like major purchases like a new car, medium-term goals like buying a house, or long-term goals for the time when we leave our jobs. Because face it, at some point we'll want to stop doing the job we're doing or simply not be able to continue. Saving for retirement requires a lot of time, and this is where this principle comes in. Owing. Owing can be broken down into 2 parts, debt and taxes. Now, there are some legitimate uses of debt, but a large swath of the population does not fall into this category. I personally, in the past, have been guilty of using credit cards to boost my lifestyle, and it was a mistake most of the time. Owing taxes. Now, here's an interesting thing that I'd never thought of before it was brought up in my coursework. When I'm writing the check to the tax man, I should be grateful because it's symptomatic of God's provision in my life. Jesus set the example by paying taxes. Check out Matthew chapter 17, verses 24 to 27. Matthew 22, 15 to 22 references support of paying taxes. And finally, in Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 13, indicates we should obey the government because God installed them. Once you graduate, be it from welding school, engineering school, or law school, you're going to need a different plan for each of these stages that's tailored to your each individual situation. During your working years, am I saving enough and is it in the right place? In the glide path to retirement, which I define as the last 10 years prior to retirement, will the USS Retirement be shipshape on the appointed day? And retirement, how do I avoid running out of money before I run out of life? And finally, legacy, because we're all part of God's plan. Are you set up for your successor custodian of God's resources to take over for you when you're done, when you go off to be, when you leave this earth? I can be reached at herwirefinancial.com. I do in-person, Zoom, and phone appointments. I am licensed and registered across several states and can easily add states if there is a need. If you'd like to schedule an appointment, you can click on the schedule an appointment button in the upper right-hand corner of my website. If you want to see more videos like this, go to my YouTube channel. It's that red button. And if your friends want more information on me, they can follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. For those who prefer the good old-fashioned telephone, 518-631-2569. Do not text that number. We'll both be sad because I won't get it. Opinions voiced in this material are for general information only, not to be intended to be specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance reference is historical, no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested in directly. All data is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no representation is made as to its completeness or accuracy. None of this is to be construed as tax or legal advice. Consult your advisor prior to taking any action. Unmanaged index returns do not reflect fees, expenses, or sales charges. Index performance is not indicative of the performance of any investment. Investing in stock includes numerous specific risks, including fluctuation of the dividend, loss of principal, potential illiquidity of the investment in a falling market. Investing in mutual funds involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Fund value will fluctuate with market conditions, and it may not achieve its investment objective. Dow Jones Industrial Average is comprised of 30 stocks that are major factors in their industries and widely held by individuals and institutional investors. The Standard & Poor's 500 Index is a cap-weighted index of 500 stocks designed to measure performance of the broad domestic economy through changes in the aggregate market value of 500 stocks representing all major industries. The NASDAQ Composite Index measures all NASDAQ domestic and non-U.S. based common stocks listed on the NASDAQ stock market. The market value, last sale price multiplied by total shares outstanding, is calculated throughout the trading day and is related to the total value of the index. Fairwire Financial and LPL Financial not endorsed by or affiliated with U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services or any government agency. Securities and investment advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. Everybody have a great week, and I'll see you next week.